The silver ships of the Velkan Empire cut through space like sharp blades. Queen Zara stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the stars pass by through the massive viewing window. Her purple skin gleamed under the ship's lights, and her 4 arms moved with practiced grace as she reviewed battle reports. "My queen," called Commander Rex from his station. "We have found another ship in Sector 7. It appears to be from an unknown species." Zara's golden eyes brightened with interest. "Show me," she commanded. The main screen displayed a small vessel drifting near a dead planet. The ship looked primitive compared to Velkan technology. Its metal hull was scratched and dented, and it moved slowly through space. "Scan it," Zara ordered. "What species are they?" "The computer shows they call themselves humans, my queen. Their home world is called Earth. They appear to be explorers." Zara smiled. She enjoyed meeting new species, especially ones that might prove useful to her empire. The Velkan Empire had grown strong by taking the best from every world they conquered. Some species became workers, others became soldiers, and the smartest ones became advisors. "Capture the ship," she said. "Bring the crew to me. I want to see these humans for myself." The Velkan ship surrounded the human vessel. Their advanced technology made escape impossible. Within an hour, the human ship was pulled into the cargo bay of Zara's flagship. 5 humans were brought before Queen Zara in her throne room. The chamber was vast and impressive, with walls made of crystal that showed images of conquered worlds. Zara sat on her throne, which was carved from a single piece of black stone. Her royal guards stood nearby, their weapons ready. 4 of the humans trembled with fear. They kept their heads down and whispered prayers in their strange language. But the 5th human was different. He stood straight and looked directly at Queen Zara without fear. "What is your name?" Zara asked the brave human. "Tom," he replied in perfect Velkan language. "Tom Anderson. I am the ship's engineer." Zara raised an eyebrow. Very few aliens could speak Velkan so well. "How did you learn our language?" "I studied it during our journey," Tom said calmly. "Your empire is famous across the galaxy. Any explorer who wants to survive should know how to speak with the Velkans." The other humans stared at Tom in shock. They had not known he could speak the alien language. "You are not afraid," Zara observed. It was a statement, not a question. Tom shook his head. "Fear would not help me or my crew. You are clearly powerful and intelligent. I believe we can have a useful conversation instead of just being afraid." Queen Zara found herself impressed. Most species either tried to fight her or begged for mercy when they were captured. This human was doing neither. Instead, he was treating her like an equal worthy of respect. "Guards, take the other humans to the holding cells," Zara commanded. "Make sure they are fed and treated well. Tom Anderson will stay here. I have questions for him." As the guards led his crewmates away, Tom remained calm. He watched them go with sad eyes but did not protest or try to follow them. "You care about your friends," Zara noticed. "They are good people," Tom said. "We have worked together for 3 years exploring space. They have families waiting for them on Earth." "Tell me about your home world," Zara said, settling back in her throne. She was curious about this species that could produce someone so interesting. Tom spoke about Earth for over an hour. He described the blue oceans and green forests, the many different countries and cultures, and the way humans had learned to work together despite their differences. He spoke about their technology and their dreams of exploring the stars. Zara listened carefully. She had conquered many worlds, but Tom made Earth sound special. The way he described human cooperation and creativity made her think these people might be more useful than she had first believed. "Why did you leave your beautiful world to travel in such a small ship?" she asked. "Because there is so much to learn out here," Tom replied. "Every star might have new worlds, new people, new ideas. How can we grow if we stay in one place forever? Over the following weeks, Zara found herself talking with Tom every day. She brought him to her private study, a smaller room filled with books and art from across her empire. Tom was fascinated by everything he saw. This statue is from the Christek people, Zara explained, showing him a beautiful sculpture that seemed to glow with inner light. They were master artists before they joined my empire. Joined? Tom asked carefully. Yes, Zara said. They chose to become part of something larger rather than fight a war they could not win. Now their art is treasured throughout 12 star systems, and their people live in peace. Tom nodded thoughtfully. You give conquered species a chance to keep their culture. The best parts of it, Zara agreed. Strength comes from bringing together the finest qualities of many peoples. The Doric are excellent warriors, the Mistral are brilliant scientists, and the Christek create beauty that touches the soul. What about humans? Tom asked. What would we bring to your empire? Zara studied his face. That depends on humans like you. What do you think your people could offer? Tom considered the question seriously. Humans are good at solving problems. We see things differently than other species might. We adapt quickly to new situations. And we never give up, even when things look impossible. Their conversations continued for months. Tom proved to be an excellent advisor. When two colonies had a dispute over mining rights, Tom suggested a solution that satisfied both sides. When trade routes were threatened by pirates, Tom helped design new security measures that protected merchant ships without requiring more military vessels. Zara found herself looking forward to their daily talks. Tom had a way of seeing problems from angles she had never considered. More importantly, he treated her not just as a queen but as a person. He asked about her childhood, her dreams, and her fears about ruling such a vast empire. Do you ever get lonely? Tom asked one evening as they sat in her garden, surrounded by plants from dozens of different worlds. Zara was quiet for a long time. No one had ever asked her that question before. Yes, she finally admitted. A queen must always be strong. She cannot show weakness or doubt. Sometimes I feel like I am surrounded by people but still completely alone. Leadership is a heavy burden, Tom said gently. On Earth, we have a saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. It means that being in charge is harder than most people realize. Your people understand this. Some do. The best leaders are the ones who care more about their people than about their own power. Zara looked at Tom with new respect. You speak wisely for someone so young. I learn from watching others, Tom said. Good leaders and bad ones. The good ones always remembered that their job was to serve their people, not the other way around. As time passed, Zara began to realize that Tom was changing her perspective on many things. She had always ruled through strength and fear. But Tom showed her that people worked harder and more willingly when they felt respected and valued. However, not everyone in the empire was happy with Tom's influence. General Cross, leader of the royal military, believed that aliens should serve the Vulcans, not advise them. He gathered support from other nobles who felt that Zara was becoming too soft. This human is making our queen weak, Cross told his followers in secret meetings. She listens to his primitive ideas instead of trusting Vulcan wisdom. If this continues, our empire will fall to our enemies. Cross began planning rebellion. He sent ships to distant systems, telling local commanders that Earth was a threat that needed to be destroyed. Some believed him and joined his cause. Meanwhile, Zara faced pressure from her royal council to get rid of Tom. During one heated meeting, several nobles demanded that all humans be sent to work camps. They are a primitive species, argued Lord Vex, an elderly noble with traditional views. This human has somehow tricked you into believing he is useful, but he is just a clever animal. Zara felt anger rise in her chest. Tom Anderson has solved more problems in 6 months than this council has solved in 6 years. He deserves respect, not insults. My queen, said Lady Mora carefully, we only worry about how this looks to other species. If you show too much favor to humans, our enemies might think we are becoming weak. That night, Zara could not sleep. She walked through the halls of her ship, thinking about Tom and the difficult situation. She cared about him more than she had ever cared about anyone. But caring about someone meant wanting to protect them, and the safest thing would be to send Tom back to Earth. The next morning, she found Tom in the engineering section, working alongside Vulcan technicians to improve the ship's power systems. He was explaining something to a young Vulcan engineer who listened with great interest. You see, if we adjust the energy flow here, Tom was saying, pointing to a complex diagram, we can increase efficiency by 12% without any risk to the system. The Vulcan engineer tried Tom's suggestion and smiled when it worked perfectly. Amazing! How did you think of that? Sometimes an outside perspective helps, Tom said modestly. You understand your technology much better than I do, but fresh eyes can spot things that are easy to miss. Watching this interaction, Zara made a decision that would change both their lives forever. Tom, she called. Please come with me. We need to talk. They walked to her private quarters in silence. Once inside, Zara turned to face him. My nobles want me to send you away, she said directly. They believe you are a bad influence on me and the Empire. Tom nodded sadly. I understand. I always knew this day might come. When will you send me back to Earth? I am not sending you anywhere, Zara said firmly. Instead, I am offering you a choice that will protect you from anyone who might try to harm you. Tom looked confused. What kind of choice? Zara took a deep breath. What she was about to propose was unprecedented in Vulcan history, but she knew it was right. Marry me, she said. Become my consort and partner. As my husband, you will have legal protection that no one can challenge. Together, we can build something new, something better than what either of our peoples could achieve alone. Tom stared at her in shock. Of all the things he had expected her to say, this was not one of them. Zara, he said softly, are you sure? This will cause problems with your people. They will never accept a human as your equal. Then they will have to learn, Zara replied. I am the queen. My word is law. And I choose you. Tom was quiet for a long moment, thinking about everything this would mean. Finally, he smiled. Yes, he said. Yes, I will marry you. The royal wedding took place 1 month later. The ceremony was broadcast across all 12 systems of the Vulcan Empire. Many nobles attended with forced smiles, hiding their anger and disgust. But the common people seemed curious about their queen's unusual choice. Tom wore simple human clothes, refusing the elaborate Vulcan robes that were offered to him. Zara wore the traditional crown of her ancestors, a magnificent piece made from crystal and rare metals. As they spoke their vows, Tom promised to support Zara's rule and help her empire grow stronger. Zara promised to respect Tom's people and protect him from any who would do him harm. With this union, Zara announced to the gathered crowd, we begin a new age of cooperation between our peoples. Humans and Vulcans will learn from each other, making both species stronger and wiser. The applause was polite but not enthusiastic. Many still doubted that any good could come from mixing Vulcan royalty with alien blood. But in distant star systems, General Cross watched the ceremony with growing rage. The time for subtle rebellion was over. Soon, he would show the galaxy that the Vulcan Empire belonged to Vulcans alone. As the celebration ended and the new royal couple retired to their chambers, neither Tom nor Zara realized that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The marriage was just the beginning of a story that would shock the entire galaxy. 6 months had passed since Queen Zara married Tom Anderson. The royal palace on the capital world of Velka's Prime had become their home, and Tom had settled into his new role as royal consort. Every morning, he joined Zara for breakfast in the Crystal Garden, where they discussed the day's business while surrounded by flowering plants from across the empire. The mining operations on Terek 7 are behind schedule, Zara said, reading from her daily reports. The equipment keeps breaking down, and the engineers cannot figure out why. Tom paused while eating his meal. His eyes grew distant for a moment, as if he was thinking about something far away. The problem is not with the equipment, he said quietly. It is the power crystals. They are being overcharged. Zara looked up from her tablet. How could you possibly know that? The report just says the machines are failing. Tom seemed surprised by his own words. I just had a feeling, he said, shaking his head. Maybe I am wrong. But when Zara contacted the mining station, her engineers confirmed that Tom was exactly right. The power crystals had indeed been overcharged, causing system failures throughout the facility. The problem was fixed within hours. That was very lucky, Zara said when Tom joined her in the throne room later that day. Yes, very lucky, Tom agreed, but his voice sounded uncertain. Similar incidents began happening more frequently. When a cargo ship went missing near the outer rim, Tom suggested searching in a nebula that was not on any of the official routes. The ship was found there, exactly where Tom had said it would be. When food supplies ran low on the agricultural world of Greenvale, Tom recommended changing the crop rotation pattern in a way that increased production by 20%. Each time, Tom claimed it was just intuition or good guessing. But Zara was beginning to notice that his guesses were always correct. Meanwhile, General Cross was building his rebel forces in secret. He had convinced 12 military commanders that Queen Zara's marriage to a human was a sign of weakness. More importantly, he argued that aliens were taking control of the empire from within. Look at how she listens to this Tom Anderson, Cross told his supporters during a secret meeting on a remote space station. A queen who takes advice from primitive aliens is no queen at all. She is a traitor to her own species. Captain Dex, commander of the 3rd Battle Fleet, nodded in agreement. My crew asks why we protect worlds full of aliens when we should be ruling them. This human has made our queen soft. Then we must remind the galaxy who the true masters are, Cross declared. We will strike at the outer colonies first. When the people see that Zara cannot protect them, they will welcome new leadership. The first attack came without warning. 3 rebel ships struck the mining colony on Asteroid Base 9. The attack was swift and brutal. The rebels destroyed the mining equipment and took all the valuable crystals before disappearing into deep space. When news reached the capital, Zara was furious. She immediately ordered her fastest ships to pursue the attackers, but they found nothing. The rebels had vanished completely. How is this possible? Zara demanded during an emergency council meeting. We have the best tracking technology in the galaxy. Ships cannot simply disappear. Admiral Kane, her most trusted military advisor, studied the star charts. The attackers knew our patrol schedules perfectly. They hit the base at the exact moment when our nearest ships were 3 hours away. This was planned by someone with access to classified information. Tom sat quietly in the corner of the meeting room, listening to the discussion. As the admirals argued about patrol routes and defensive strategies, he closed his eyes and seemed to concentrate deeply. They are hiding in the vortex cluster, he said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. Admiral Kane frowned. That is impossible. The vortex cluster is too dangerous for ships to hide there. The gravity fields would crush any vessel. Not if they know the safe passages, Tom replied. There are 3 stable routes through the cluster. The rebels are using the middle passage, approximately 47 light-years from here. Zara stared at her husband. Tom, how could you know that? Tom looked as surprised as everyone else. I do not know. The information just came to me somehow. Despite their doubts, Zara ordered a small scouting fleet to investigate the vortex cluster. 2 days later, they found the rebel base hidden exactly where Tom had said it would be. The discovery shocked everyone except Tom, who seemed more confused than pleased by his accurate prediction. We need to talk, Zara told Tom that evening after the council meeting ended. They walked to their private chambers in silence. Once inside, Zara turned to face her husband with a serious expression. Tom, I need you to tell me the truth. How did you know about the rebel base? How did you know about the mining problems and the missing cargo ship? These are not lucky guesses. Tom sat down heavily in a chair. He looked tired and worried. I honestly do not know, Zara. Sometimes information just appears in my mind. It is like remembering something I learned long ago, but I know I never learned it. What kind of information? Zara asked gently. Technical specifications for Vulcan ships. The layout of star systems I have never visited. Battle tactics that your military uses. Things no human should know. Tom looked up at his wife. I think something is happening to me, but I do not understand what. Before Zara could respond, an emergency alarm sounded throughout the palace. Red lights flashed, and a voice announced, "Attack on Colony World Delta Prime. All senior staff report to the command center immediately." They rushed to the command center, where Admiral Kane was coordinating the response to another rebel attack. This time, the rebels had struck a civilian settlement with a population of 50,000 people. They hit the power stations first, Kane reported grimly. Then they destroyed the communication arrays. We lost contact with the colony 3 hours ago. How long until our reinforcements arrive? Zara asked. The nearest fleet is 18 hours away. By then, the rebels will be long gone. Tom walked over to the main display screen, which showed a map of the Delta Prime system. He studied it for several minutes while the others discussed rescue plans. Send ships to the third moon, Tom said quietly. What? Admiral Kane looked confused. The third moon of Delta Prime, Tom repeated, his voice growing stronger. The rebels will retreat there after the attack. It has underground caves that can hide their ships, and the mineral deposits will block our sensors. How could you possibly know that? Kane demanded. Tom turned to face the Admiral, and for a moment, his eyes seemed to glow with a strange inner light. Because I can see their ships right now. 3 heavy cruisers and 12 fighters, hiding in the caves just like I said. The room fell silent. Everyone stared. Zara made a decision. Admiral Kane, send the 4th Squadron to investigate the third moon of Delta Prime. If Tom is right, we can catch the rebels before they escape. Kane reluctantly followed the order. 6 hours later, the 4th Squadron found and destroyed the entire rebel fleet exactly where Tom had predicted. The victory was impressive, but it raised more questions than it answered. How had Tom known the rebels' location with such precision? How had he known about their hiding places and tactical preferences? General Cross learned about the failed attack within hours. His rage was terrible to see. Not only had his forces been defeated, but they had been found by the human Tom Anderson. This is impossible, Cross roared at his remaining commanders. No alien should be able to track our movements. That human is using some kind of forbidden technology. What should we do now, General? Asked Captain Dex. Cross stared at the star charts, plotting his next move. We escalate. No more small attacks on remote colonies. We strike at the heart of the Empire itself. And we make sure that human dies in the process. Over the following weeks, more attacks occurred across the Empire. Each time, Tom was able to predict where the rebels would strike next or where they would retreat afterward. His accuracy was perfect, which made everyone increasingly suspicious about his true nature. During one particularly intense battle briefing, Commander Rex asked the question that everyone was thinking, Your Majesty, how does your husband know these things? His predictions are too accurate to be normal. Zara looked at Tom, who sat quietly at the conference table. She had been wondering the same thing, but she trusted her husband and believed he was trying to help. Tom has proven his loyalty to the Empire many times, she said firmly. His knowledge, whatever its source, has saved thousands of lives. But privately, Zara was growing more curious about her husband's abilities. That night, she found Tom standing on the balcony of their chambers, looking up at the stars with a troubled expression. "What are you thinking about?" she asked softly. "Home," Tom replied. "I miss Earth sometimes, but it feels like a lifetime since I left. Sometimes I wonder if I am still the same person who left that world." "What do you mean?" Tom was quiet for a long moment. "I remember my life before I met you, but it feels like it happened to someone else. The person I am now knows things that Tom Anderson never learned. I can sense things across vast distances, predict events before they happen, and understand technology that should be completely foreign to me." "Maybe marriage to me has changed you somehow," Zara suggested. "The royal bloodline has certain psychic abilities. Perhaps being so close to me has awakened something in you." "Maybe," Tom said, but he did not sound convinced. "Or maybe I was never what I seemed to be in the first place." The next morning brought the worst news yet. General Cross had launched a massive attack on the industrial world of Forge Prime, the Empire's main shipbuilding center. Worse still, intelligence reports suggested that Cross had gathered a fleet of over 200 ships for a final assault on the capital world itself. "This is it," Admiral Kane announced grimly. "Cross is making his move for the throne. His fleet is larger than ours, and his ships are newer. If he reaches Velka's prime, we may not be able to stop him." Zara felt fear creep into her heart. Not just for herself, but for Tom and for all the people who would suffer if Cross succeeded in his rebellion. "How long do we have?" she asked. 3 days at most. His fleet is moving fast, and they know our defensive positions." Tom stood up suddenly. "No, they do not know our positions. Cross thinks he knows, but he is wrong." Everyone turned to look at him. "What do you mean?" Zara asked. "I can sense his fleet," Tom said, his voice taking on a strange quality. "I can see their formation, their planned attack routes, even their weapons configurations. More importantly, I can see their weaknesses." Admiral Kane leaned forward. "What weaknesses?" Tom closed his eyes and concentrated. When he opened them again, they seemed to glow with the same inner light that Zara had noticed before. "Cross is overconfident," Tom said. "He has positioned his ships in a formation that looks strong but has a critical flaw. If we attack at the right moment, in the right place, we can turn his own strength against him." "How?" Zara demanded. Tom smiled, but it was not his usual gentle expression. This smile held secrets and power that she had never seen before. "Trust me," he said. "But first, I need to show you something that I have been hiding. Something about who I really am." As Tom spoke these words, alarms began sounding throughout the capital. Cross's fleet had arrived early, and the final battle for the Empire was about to begin. But Queen Zara was about to discover that her human husband was far more than he appeared to be, and that the outcome of this war would depend on secrets that stretched back much further than anyone could imagine. The warning sirens echoed through the palace as General Cross's massive fleet dropped out of hyperspace above Velka's prime. Queen Zara stood in the command center, watching the tactical display show hundreds of enemy ships surrounding her world. Her own fleet looked tiny in comparison. 237 rebel ships, Admiral Kane reported grimly. "We have 86 vessels ready for battle. The odds are not in our favor." Zara felt her heart racing, but she forced herself to remain calm. Her people were depending on her leadership in this desperate hour. She turned to Tom, who stood quietly beside her, his eyes closed in deep concentration. "Tom, you said you could show me something. If you have knowledge that can help us, I need to know it now." Tom opened his eyes and looked directly at his wife. "What I am about to tell you will change everything you believe about humans and about me. Are you ready for that?" "Tell me," Zara said firmly. Tom walked to the center of the command room, where all the senior officers could see him. He took a deep breath and began to speak. "My name is Tom Anderson, and I am human. But I am not just any human. I am part of a group that your people have never encountered before. Earth has been watching the galaxy for much longer than anyone realizes. Admiral Kane stepped forward. What are you talking about? Humans are a young species. You have barely discovered space travel. Tom shook his head. That is what we wanted you to believe. The truth is that humans have been exploring space for over 1,000 years. We learned early that survival meant being underestimated by stronger species. The room fell silent except for the sound of approaching enemy ships. Humans developed a simple strategy, Tom continued. We hide our true capabilities while we learn about other species. We send out small exploration ships that look primitive and harmless. When these ships are captured, the humans on board study the aliens who capture them. Zara stared at her husband in shock. You mean your capture by my fleet was planned? Not exactly, Tom admitted. Our ship really was exploring, and we really were surprised by your fleet. But every human explorer is trained for the possibility of capture. We learn alien languages quickly, we adapt to new cultures, and we gather information. What kind of information? Commander Rex asked suspiciously. Military tactics, technology designs, political structures, weaknesses in defenses, Tom replied calmly. Everything that might be useful if humans ever needed to defend themselves against a hostile alien empire. The implications of this revelation hit everyone at the same time. Admiral Kane drew his weapon. You are a spy. You have been gathering intelligence about our empire for months. Tom did not move or show any fear of the weapon pointed at him. Yes, I gathered intelligence. But I also fell in love with your queen and chose to help your empire rather than harm it. That choice changed everything. How do we know you are telling the truth? Kane demanded. Tom smiled sadly. Because I am about to prove it. Computer, activate Communication Protocol Alpha 7. The room's communication system activated, but instead of the normal Vulcan interface, strange symbols appeared on the screen. Tom began speaking in a language none of the aliens had ever heard before. This is Agent Anderson, Authorization Code Earth Prime 1. Emergency protocol is now active. Request immediate assistance at coordinates 77 Mark 49. Threat level maximum. The response came within seconds, spoken by a voice that sounded human but spoke perfect Vulcan. Agent Anderson, we have been monitoring your situation. Assistance is already in position. Awaiting your orders. Tom turned back to the stunned Vulcan officers. I told you that humans have been in space much longer than you knew. We have been watching this rebellion develop for weeks. My people are here, hidden and ready to help. Where? Zara whispered. Tom pressed another control, and the tactical display changed dramatically. Suddenly, dozens of new contacts appeared around the planet. Ships that had been completely invisible were now showing up on every sensor. 43 human vessels, Tom announced. Each one more advanced than your most powerful warship. They have been here for days, waiting for my signal. The bridge crew stared at the display in amazement. The human ships were sleek and beautiful, unlike anything they had ever seen. More importantly, the sensors showed that these vessels possessed energy signatures far beyond anything in the Vulcan fleet. This is impossible, Admiral Kane breathed. Our sensors are the best in the galaxy. How could we not detect them? Human stealth technology, Tom explained. We learned long ago that the best defense is not to be seen in the first place. Our ships can become completely invisible to any sensor system we have studied. General Cross's voice suddenly filled the command center as his fleet opened communication channels. Queen Zara, your reign ends today. Surrender now, and I will allow you to live in exile. Refuse, and I will destroy your capital and everyone in it. Tom stepped forward and activated the reply system. General Cross, this is Tom Anderson. I have a counteroffer. The human dares to speak to me? Cross laughed harshly. When I am finished with your queen, alien, I will personally make sure you suffer for corrupting our empire. You are welcome to try, Tom said calmly. But first, let me show you something interesting. Computer, decloak all human vessels. The space around Velka's prime suddenly filled with ships. The human fleet appeared as if by magic, their hulls gleaming in the light of the system's star. They moved with perfect coordination, taking positions that surrounded Cross's larger fleet. The communication channel went silent for several long moments. What kind of trick is this? Cross finally demanded. No trick, Tom replied. Just the truth. You wanted to fight the Velkan Empire because you thought it was weak. But the Velkan Empire is no longer alone. Humanity has chosen Queen Zara as our ally, and we protect our allies. On the tactical display, the human ships began moving into attack formation. Their movements were so smooth and coordinated that they looked like a single organism rather than individual vessels. Tom, Zara said quietly, what exactly are you? Tom looked at his wife with love and sadness in his eyes. I am a human who was sent to study your empire and report back to Earth. But I am also someone who fell in love with an extraordinary queen and chose to make her world my home. He turned back to the communication system. General Cross, you have 1 minute to withdraw your fleet from this system. If you refuse, my people will demonstrate why humans survived long enough to reach the stars. You cannot defeat us, Cross replied angrily. We outnumber you 5-1. Numbers do not always matter, Tom said. He gestured to the tactical display. Computer, show General Cross the targeting data. The display changed to show Cross's fleet from above. Red lines appeared, connecting each human ship to multiple targets in the rebel formation. Every rebel vessel was targeted by at least 3 human ships. Our targeting systems are locked onto every ship in your fleet, Tom announced. Our weapons can destroy your vessels faster than your crews can react. This is not a threat, General. This is a fact. Admiral Kane studied the display with professional interest. Those targeting patterns are perfect. How is such coordination possible? Human neural networks, Tom explained. Each of our ships is connected to all the others through quantum communication. Our captains think and act as one mind when necessary. Tom activated the communication system one final time. General Cross, your time is up. Withdraw now, or face the consequences. The rebel fleet began moving, but not in retreat. Cross had decided to attack despite the odds against him. So be it, Tom said sadly. He spoke into his communication device in the human language. All ships, execute Protocol 7. Disable enemy vessels with minimum casualties. What happened next amazed everyone watching. The human ships moved like dancers, flowing around the rebel fleet in patterns that seemed impossible. Their weapons fired with perfect accuracy, striking engines and weapon systems while avoiding crew compartments. Within 10 minutes, the entire rebel fleet was disabled. Not a single ship had been destroyed, but none of them could fight or escape. The precision of the attack was unlike anything the Velkans had ever seen. How is this possible? Zara asked in wonder. Humans have a unique gift, Tom explained. We learn from every species we encounter and combine their knowledge with our own innovations. Our ships use Christek artwork for beauty, Doric engineering for strength, Mistral science for power, and Velkan tactics for strategy. But we add something that no other species has. What is that? Adaptability, Tom said. Humans can take the best from everywhere and make it work together. We do not just conquer or copy. We improve and integrate. General Cross's personal ship was brought to the palace under guard. The defeated general was escorted to Queen Zara's throne room, where he knelt before her in defeat. You have lost, Cross, Zara announced. Your rebellion is over. Cross looked up at Tom with hatred in his eyes. You used alien tricks to defeat me. This victory means nothing. I used human intelligence combined with Velkan honor, Tom corrected. Your own people chose to follow Queen Zara once they saw that she was strong enough to protect the empire. That is not trickery. That is leadership. Tom was right. News of the victory had spread quickly throughout the empire. The nobles who had supported Cross were now eager to pledge loyalty to Zara again. They had seen that her marriage to Tom was not weakness but wisdom. Over the following days, representatives from Earth arrived to begin formal discussions about an alliance between humans and Vulcans. The talks were led by Ambassador Sarah Chen, a woman who looked remarkably similar to Tom. Agent Anderson has done excellent work, Ambassador Chen told Queen Zara during their first meeting. His reports helped Earth understand that the Vulcan Empire could be a valuable partner rather than a potential threat. So Tom really was a spy? Zara asked. He was an observer, Chen corrected gently. His mission was to learn about your people and culture. But his recommendation to form an alliance came from his personal feelings, not his original orders. Zara found Tom that evening in their private garden, watching the stars through the crystal dome overhead. Are you happy with how everything turned out? She asked. Tom took her hand gently. I am happy to be here with you. Earth will always be my birthplace, but this is my home now. Do you regret keeping your true nature secret for so long? I regret the deception, Tom admitted. But I do not regret the outcome. Humans and Vulcans can accomplish great things together. We both have strengths that the other needs. Zara smiled and squeezed his hand. When I first met you, I thought you were just an interesting alien. I never imagined you would change my entire empire. You changed me too, Tom replied. I came here as an observer, but I stayed as a husband who loves his wife and wants to protect her people. As they stood together under the alien stars, both Tom and Zara knew that their marriage had begun something much larger than either of them had expected. The alliance between Earth and the Vulcan Empire would reshape the galaxy, bringing together human adaptability and Vulcan strength to create something new and powerful. The human who had seemed so ordinary had revealed abilities that shocked an alien queen. But more importantly, he had shown that the greatest power was not in weapons or technology, but in the choice to use strength to protect rather than conquer. Their love story had become the foundation for a new era of cooperation among the stars.